bothers me about the Caitlin Clark is just that why do people act like she's not a white American? Like that doesn't matter. I just don't understand why people just ignore that. You cannot skip over that. As much as we try to act like we can and can't, act like we're just, oh, why does she have her own sneaker deal and this girl doesn't? Why is she getting all this money? She's a great player, super great, and she's white and she's from middle America. That matters. She's a pure white middle America, yo. That matters. I know we had a couple presidents and mayors and rallies and Black Lives Matters and all this shit. White
but
America.
She fits the bill.
Yes, bro. I don't
She's
know.
She's white and she got the perfect mold right here.
Right.
So here we go again, back with another one. Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And before I get started, before I get ready to dive in, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so as everybody already knows, the #1 overall pick in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, has been getting endorsement deal after endorsement deal. Good for anybody that can go out and make some money playing a game that they love. There's no hate. This video and the videos that I do and the content that I make, it's not about hate. I don't have any hatred in my heart. I don't have time for it. I don't have the energy for it. And so the content that I make and the content that I create, or at least that I try to create, is more about explaining the why. And so Mase Cam from the Is What It Is show, former superstar rappers who need no introduction, everybody knows who they are. But they're going to be discussing who the next face of the NBA should be.
Yeah. Every time it's a face of the league, it's a championship with that. And I could be wrong.
No, that's 100%
right. Because you could be Barkley.
Kobe.
Yeah, you could be Barkley. You could be Reggie Miller.
Yeah, you could be one of them other niggas.
Yeah.
But if you got LeBron,
yeah,
Kobe,
Shaq, Michael Jordan, Tim Duncan, like
Tim Duncan.
You know, you got the face of the league.
Isaiah Thomas,
right? Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
Bird.
Championship comes with face of the league, and I know a lot of people like, oh, it ain't all about a chip.
Yes, it is.
But for the face of the league, the championship usually comes with the face of the league.
Talking about Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, and a plethora of other young superstars and what it takes to be a superstar. And right in the middle of the discussion, Stat, the lovely Stat, brings up a beautiful question. I want y'all to go ahead and listen, and then of course I'll come back and chime in.
So this is like a different conversation, but still kind of along the same way. Like, I know we're talking about NBA, but that's also why in college women's sports, people are like, well, Caitlin Clark didn't win this, so why is she the face of college? So it's like a lot of different things, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like she definitely is the face of college women's basketball right now.
There's always been a double standard for men and women.
Fair. It's just real interesting. I just think the conversation is interesting.
You know what it is?
It's like a guy could be a freak, but a woman can't, right? It's always been a double standard.
You know what bothers me about the Caitlin Clark is just that man, woman, wherever, dog, cat, why do people stop? And I said it 100 times. Why do people act like she's not a white American? Like that doesn't matter. I just don't understand why people just ignore that. Well, Caitlin Clark, she's a pure white middle America, yo. That matters. I know we had a couple presidents and mayors and rallies and Black Lives Matters and all this shit. White
but
America.
She fits the bill.
Yes, bro. I don't know.
She's white and she got the perfect mold right here.
Right, murder. And people keep saying, oh, you got the Joker, you got Dante. Not American. It matters when you have a white American superstar. You cannot skip over that. As much as we try to act like we can and can't, act like we're just, oh, why does she have her own sneaker deal and this girl doesn't? Why is she getting all this money? She's a great player, super great, and she's white and she's from middle America. That matters.
Yeah, she's from Iowa. It's perfect.
Perfect. You can't get any.
Perfect.
You can't get
stories you can sell from Iowa.
Right, exactly, man.
Des Moines,
yo, you can't get no more middle America than that, man. You know,
You can inspire more from there. Pause, for real.
Yes. Yeah, look, the same thing.
Anything is possible.
Eminem and all that shit, like, even to the point where, like, and he's been on the show. He's great. He's the super duper great rap and all that.
Yeah.
Middle America white nigga.
Yeah.
Middle of Kentucky. It matters. It matters.
Shout out to my boy Jack Harlow.
Yo, Drum and Lakers in town too. They was trying to come back by the other night, but we ain't film. I meant to tell you that.
Yeah.
Lakers here. I called them later and told them to come by tomorrow. But that matters. Stop acting like it don't matter. Look.
And so we all know what it is. It is what it is. No pun intended. If Caitlin Clark had a high concentration of melanin and her skin was dark, she would be a blimp on the radar. And so let's just get real for a second. We're talking about somebody that hasn't won anything. But yet we're talking about somebody that's treated like a champion. We're talking about somebody that's being treated like they won a gold medal. We're talking about somebody that's been lifted to the stratosphere. And it's not as simplistic as Mase and Cameron put it. It's not as simple as Caitlin Clark is white and so therefore she's given preferential treatment and she's being held on this pedestal and she's getting all these endorsements. It's not that simple. Because if Caitlin Clark was doing the same thing at another sport, let's say she was setting records in soccer or she was setting records in swimming or tennis or golf or something like that, there wouldn't be anything close to the level of stardom and fandom that Caitlin Clark has been garnering. Nowhere close. But for the simple fact that she's dominating a so-called black sport, such as basketball, which predominantly is used to seeing black female stars as the face of it. Not all, but the majority of the women that are dominating the WNBA are so-called black. And because of that, when somebody within the dominant society, somebody who's white, can dominate a so-called black sport.
Pervert charts go off the wall when a challenger's white.
There, I said it, Doc. White.
I'm glad you said it, Stu.
It ain't about race. It's about boxing.
There's a reason everyone has lost interest in the heavyweight championship of the world. And it's very simple. People are tired of paying good money to watch this beat up. The highest grossing fight in the history of boxing is Cooney versus Holmes.
They'll lift you to the stratosphere. They'll put you on a whole nother level. And I always go back to the George Cooney fight back when he fought Larry Holmes. George Cooney wasn't half the boxer that Larry Holmes was. Didn't have the resume of a Larry Holmes. But yet when George Cooney fought Larry Holmes, they announced his name last, like he was the champion. They even put a telephone in his locker room. So if he won, if and when he won, the president of the United States was going to call him. Your man, Ronald Reagan, was going to call him up and congratulate him. There was no phone in Larry Holmes' locker room. The world was on edge. To this day, that's one of the highest grossing fights of all time. And it was based around George Cooney beating up a so-called black man, Larry Holmes. There was nothing else to it. And to this day, that's why fights like that sell. When you have a so-called black man in there with a Mexican fighter, with a white fighter, those are your highest grossing fights. People want to see a black man in a so-called black sport or a black woman in a so-called black sport be defeated by somebody else. It sells. It sells to dominate a so-called black man or a so-called black woman, especially at their own game. And that's what it comes down to. Because if you take Caitlin Clark, and you don't even have to change her skin tone. All you got to do is make Caitlin Clark from Detroit and give her a black boyfriend. Overnight, her endorsement deals will be gone. Overnight, her fandom would be gone. It's not about the player. It's about the game. And not about the game of basketball. It's about the game of life. And this game of life as it's been going on within America since day one, since the inception of America. It's always been a game. There's always been a race. That's why they call it race. Believe it or not, there is a race. It's a race for resources. It's a race for land. There's a race for all kinds of things. Somebody's got to be at the bottom. Somebody's got to be on top. That's just the reality. It's almost like that movie Highlander. I love that movie. Bobby Hemmett used to talk about that movie. The main theme of that movie, or the main slogan of that movie, is there can only be one. Now, not everybody thinks like that, but there's a certain group within society that do think that way. There's a certain group within society that do want to hoard all the resources and make sure that the image of them is supreme and that they're in a supreme position. And I'm not talking about everyone. Most of the people don't have the power to make that happen, but it doesn't mean they don't enjoy it. And so subliminally, we have to deal with the Caitlin Clarks, as mediocre as they may be, lacking any kind of real accomplishments. Because up until Caitlin Clark, the rule was you had to win a championship to get this kind of notoriety, to get this kind of fame. But as you see, they can change the rules anytime they want to fit their image. And once again, this is not me complaining. I'm taking notes, as everybody else listening to this should be taking notes. Even when we talk about history, and even when they rewrite history, it's how can I make my group look supreme over every other group? It's nothing new. History repeats. That's all it's about. And so I think that's going to be a good spot for me to go ahead and close out. And once again, make sure you guys go ahead and comment in the comment section. I'll try to be as active in there as I can. And as usual, peace and chaos.